Today was an unintentionally stoic day where I just felt like I was weightlifting or training my muscles, my mental and emotional muscles, to endure the feeling I felt. Which I don't want to call it suffering. I think I feel like suffering's too big of a word and too easy to lean into when it's just a matter of having to do things I don't want to do to get to a place where I can do things that I do want to do. So I don't want to divide life into constantly like I get what I want, and so that means it's a good day, versus like I don't get what I want, so that means it's a bad day. But because I'm so aware of my emotions, and because I know that emotions are basically like all we have, I was just like focused on enduring it and almost I guess try not to relate to it. Just the feeling of holding on and knowing that you don't necessarily like need to break. You don't need to have a breakdown or cry about it. I think I was just trying to push myself to withstand the feeling without giving in. Because maybe if I withstand it this way, in this direction, I can come into a different clearing. Maybe there's a different path after this. Also, I'm just like tired of my life story, and it's like I could have complained about it to someone, but it would just be the same complaints. And I'm tired of complaining about the same thing, so it's just better right now if I don't say anything to anyone, and not even myself, and not even, be like, woe is me, or because I can't take it personal, because it's not personal. It's just been a day of like doing my obligations and basic necessities like sleeping and paying for stuff, working, doing my schoolwork, and trying to let this being do what it needs to do through me, or me through it. And like searching for the path of least resistance and kind of, letting the flow take me. And I think I'll try to incorporate that feeling and philosophy more in my life, because there were times where it just kind of felt like an uphill battle, like I was pushing through ways that weren't going to work. And now that I feel like free will doesn't necessarily exist, it's just better to go with wherever this is taking me. It's easier on the spirit. And I think like just holding the emotion, I feel like I'm getting closer to a brink of absurdity. And almost like laughter, but also tears. It's like it makes me feel crazy. Like I was thinking, like why wouldn't I just off myself. I'm of the belief that if you do that, there's something like morally wrong, and like spiritually, and then on the other side, you'll have to like atone for it. You might have to come back and do this all over again. You might end up in some kind of hell. So it's just my beliefs mainly, and like, I don't know. I've never idolized as far enough to really sort out the details. I'd probably go by pills though. I was even thinking of like talking to someone on a hotline, but you never know with them, like when they might call the police or if they will, and I just don't want to deal with that kind of event when I just need to get to bed so I can go to work again. It's just like needing someone to talk to. Or wondering what they would say. Or just like playing with the possibility. Because it feels like even in stoicism, like what I'm doing right now, this mental game, this mental exercise of sitting in myself or sharing myself, understanding that this isn't all of me or that I'm not me. Kind of having this conscious relationship with consciousness. It's like an inherent split personality. And it just feels like I'm already on the brink of like death in life already. Just by having these thoughts and having these concepts, it's rejecting so much of reality and what I'm told. That a hotline would kind of be nothing. Like I'm already in a way like offing myself and like rebirthing myself. Conceptually. For most people, they just want to keep the personality happy. And that's why they get unhappy or depressed. Because the personality isn't happy. But today I was just practicing on like ignoring the personality and thinking like you have to get things done. You just have to get these things done and it doesn't matter. And no one said that you were gonna have fun all the time. It's not about keeping the personality happy. You just don't have more time to waste on being motivated or feeling good or waiting to feel good. Because I'm tired of the same problems and the same circumstances. So the quickest way to change them would to be ignoring this aspect of me and my personality, of this being that only wants pleasure or only wants ease or is just tired. Maybe it's not even whining. Maybe it's just tired. Like I don't want to call it bratty or think that's asking for too much. I think it's asking for kind of a bare minimum, but like I'm just tired of even the justified complaints and reactions or thoughts. So I'm just trying to shut it down and push it away to, get things done. I guess that would be considered ignoring my feminine side and attempting to be masculine. In an attempt to like quantum leap or jump somewhere beyond this loop that I'm in. It feels hard though because there's nothing to distract myself with or relate to because of everything I've pulled away from, whether it be naturally or like with discipline. I haven't been pushing myself to enjoy anything really. I haven't watched movies or TV shows. I think about reading some books, but I used to have a lot of like yearly goals of like amount of books I wanted to read or movies to watch. But when that subsided, I decided to just lean into it and see where it takes me. So I kind of just scroll online and look through the same keywords of like non-duality and go through YouTube recommendations and put things in my watch later. Most of the time I don't watch them later. It's just a very predictable, slow life right now. But what can you do? I've been changing as fast as I can, but the pace isn't quick enough. Then there's no going back, because I can't make myself care about the old things. And if I did, I would really enter a depressive like episode, because I would return worth and value to so many things I can't control or don't care about. So I'm not really thinking anymore. I'm just like breathing. There once was a time when I was concerned did not matter, and I was sad because I felt like I didn't matter and I was insignificant. But today I had a thought of like I don't want to matter to anyone. I don't remember why the thought came, but I think it's something to do with like the spectacle of being human and engaging with anyone and having this sense of obligation and having to be a certain mold to fit, or you're just a concept to other people anyway, depending on the levels of how they know you. And even when I'm in my room alone, I can feel my concepts and my relations with other people like floating around, and I think I just felt like being truly alone and not having anyone think of me and not having to know that I'm out there in imaginations and in histories. Because maybe because none of them feel real or truthful, since they're just fragments. So it's almost insulting to know that these fragments of me can exist while I'm alone and just exist without permission. When there's no way to get permission. Or maybe it's not that I didn't want to matter to anyone, but I felt like it wouldn't matter to anyone. Like I no longer feel the need that I need to matter. Because I don't know what that's for. It's the life is so temporary to need to matter. It's funny, like how much we hold on to this blink of an eye lifetime. I saw a tweet that said something like, the average lifespan doesn't live to 100, so why do we call 50-year-olds middle aged when I think the average lifetime expectancy, I think they said it was maybe 72, 74 years, 72 to 76 maybe. So your midlife would be around 34. I don't remember where I was going with that or if I was going anywhere. That was just something that I wanted to share because it puts certain things in perspective of how young you can be, relatively young, and still you're halfway to death, and how much pressure and like emotional roller coasters we put ourselves through trying to gather the perfect life in such a short amount of time to be wiped away and forgotten. Not that I think life matters or the point is dependent on whether you're remembered or forgotten. I don't believe that. Some people say, what's the point of life since you're just going to die and everyone's going to forget you? I don't think the point of life has to do with that. But it is a funny fact that everything is for being forgotten, except the consciousness that records all, I guess. I think they're the sole winner. So in some ways, like, I almost want to waste my life just because it's mine. Like, something gave me this time. Something gave me this time. I didn't say I had to do anything with it. To have such ownership that I just waste my life away. And to feel nothing for it, it feels rebellious. Because why not? And when I think about if I said this to people, what they would say back, of course, like encouraging things and how I have so much to live for, and life is so good. But I feel like they would either be hypocrites or maybe they wouldn't even be able to say all that stuff. Maybe they would stumble. I feel like they would stumble because the people I'm around, like my family and my friends, like our lives aren't all that admirable, or interesting or anything. We all just like get through the days to get through the days. I was talking to my mom, and it's just like old life story trauma stuff. And I'm really, I'm trying not to over-identify or identify at all, but in that moment I was trying to explain something that had hurt, while also explaining that regardless, I loved her, because my concern is, her feelings, because if I'm too harsh, like, I want to tell her that I don't forgive certain things, but I still love her. And while trying to do that, I mentioned if she passed, I would want to pass too, because I don't think anything would be here for me. That's not to say that good things don't exist or wouldn't happen to me, but I think something about like losing a mom, losing your mom, I think that would really disconnect me from Earth, because I feel like that is just such a sole anchor of why you're here. So if she were gone, it would make no sense for me to be here, because she is like my home planet. And I don't want to be here. I mean, my belief is that we come here because we choose to be here. So we did want to be here, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be here. So I would want to go with, who brought me here, because I am her responsibility. And I just don't feel that connected to anyone else. Like, so unconditionally connected. It's just like an uneasy feeling. It's like a weird feeling being here. It's like being a constant guest and staying at like the strangest hotel and basically being trapped. Just something to get through. Something to get through, and like you can't complain because the runners just don't give a shit.